Hey everybody, what's going on? Jeff Rager, another episode of The Daily Ticket. It's for a Tuesday, the 28th of May. It's 2024. How the hell you doing? Hopefully you enjoyed your holiday weekend. Before we get going, I must say, I am not usually one to be affected by celebrity deaths. But yesterday, Bill Walton, at the age of 71, passed away, had a battle with cancer. Bill Walton was maybe my all-time favorite broadcaster of all time. Now, I understand he is maybe the greatest college basketball player of all time. Won a whole bunch of games and a whole bunch of titles when he was coached by John Wooden at UCLA. I know he ended up winning a championship in Portland. I know he was a really good to very good NBA player. But to me, he's one of those guys that I think he's thought of a broadcaster more than just this great basketball player. He was hysterical. I used to stay up and watch Pac-12 After Dark simply because Bill Walton was going to be on it. Like, he's one of the few broadcasters that in a blowout, you still keep it tuned because he's so damn entertaining. Whether he was talking about the Grateful Dead or space or whatever it was. And all his partners, Jason Benetti, of course, being one of them, loved him. Seemed like a very kind, original, just really creative, awesome dude. And it sucks. He was one of my favorites. And I've been watching YouTube videos pretty much for the last 24 hours. I can suggest a couple to you if you're interested. Like the one that is awesome. If you ever get bored, 4 minutes on YouTube. I actually think we played it on the Daily Ticket when Jason Benetti got the job as the TV's Tigers guy. But it was Benetti and Bill Walton doing a baseball game, a White Sox game. It was hysterical. So Bill Walton will definitely be missed. The basketball world and the sports world reacting yesterday. Very sad. Very sad. I had no idea he was sick. 71 is way too young to go. And I'll miss him a lot because I watched him a ton. And I was a huge fan of his work. So, again, usually I don't make it a habit of talking about so-called celebrity deaths. But this one kind of hit home because Bill Walton was awesome. So, very sad news. So, the Tigers don't suck anymore. How about that? The Detroit Tigers have won 3 games in a row. And I wanted to take this podcast for a chance to give you the adventure of the Detroit Tigers. From going on the road and absolutely being awful and getting swept by the Royals. Oh, here's Olive. How you doing, Olive? Good. What's going on?
Nothing.
Did you enjoy your Memorial Day weekend? Okay, can I finish this now?
Maybe.
Okay, bye now. Every now and then, Olive's got to pop in to say hello. She's a big fan of the Daily Ticket watchers and listeners. But the Tigers have won 3 in a row, and after having a 5-game losing skid and looking absolutely atrocious and everybody worrying about them, I'm not saying they've turned things around because I don't think they have. I just think they're an average baseball team. They're a game under 500 when we're starting to talk about this team. They have a 0 dead even run differential. I just think they are who they are. However, it has been impressive how they've been able to turn the page and change the narrative just a little bit. I want to take you through the adventures of the Detroit Tigers over the last 4 to 5 days. And then at the end of this podcast, I have a very important question for you. In fact, I have 2 very important questions for you that I'm going to urge you to do me a favor and answer in the comments section. So without further ado, as they say, let's get her going. Because they lost 4 in a row on the road. After winning in Arizona in back-to-back games where they put up a combined, I want to say, 21 runs. They lost the finale of that series, and they got outclassed in Kansas City. They lost 8-3, 10-3, and 8-3. Absolutely outclassed by a team that a lot of people thought that you're supposed to be better than. It was kind of demoralizing, and I'm not going to lie. So everything got really interesting on Wednesday after they lost their last game when Chris McCoskey from the Detroit News asked A.J. Hinch about competitiveness. Said something to the extent of, hey, AJ, usually your team's pretty competitive, not this series, what happened? AJ Hinch said, quote, "I take exception to the competitive part. We were pretty competitive," unquote. People got fired up from that comment. It was a really bad comment by AJ Hinch. They lost by a combined 17 runs in 3 games. They got their asses kicked. And he's telling the Tigers fan base that, yeah, we were competitive. Like, what do you mean you were competitive? It was kind of dishonest and it was offensive. And Tiger fans know better. And I hated the answer. I think everybody hated the answer. Like, it's funny because AJ Hinch could have lost his shit. Could have taken a chance to pull a Jim Leland and tell the entire fan base that, yeah, we might not be winning, but it's not okay that we're not winning. But he decided to say, oh, yeah, we were plenty competitive enough. Really, AJ? You were plenty competitive enough? Like, it made the rounds. Everybody at 97 won the ticket. We're talking about it. Wednesday going into Thursday. So Thursday they played a night game. And they got their asses kicked by the Blue Jays 9-1 in game 1 of a 4-game set. And post-game, I was at the game covering it, and I just had to ask him for a follow-up because all anybody was still talking about was his answer. Yeah, we were plenty competitive enough despite the fact we lost by a combined 17 runs. Here was that exchange. Let me play this for you. AJ, yesterday you took exception to the word competitiveness.
Yeah.
If it's not competitiveness, how would you explain the month of May to the fan base?
So the word competitive, I think, can mean a couple different things to a couple different people. So when it was asked to me, it was asked in a way that was talking, and that I felt like was talking about effort. And being competitive and having effort is much different than the win-loss. And so separating those two is where I took exception. If it was about effort, this team's really battling, they're grinding, they're going through it, they're doing everything they can. I watch them. The win-loss part, if that's what competitive means to somebody, then just graded by the end of the game score. And so then that hasn't been competitive in terms of the score the last week, last 2 weeks, even into the last month, like you said, about our May record. So I don't ever mind the question, but I think we should define it if we're going to ask about a team's competitiveness, because you can take that and run with it on your show or anybody's article or whatever they want, which would be unfair talking about effort.
Okay, first of all, nobody cares about effort. You're big league players and managers. You make millions of dollars. I don't care that you show effort. I don't care that you play with effort, because that's a baseline minimum of what you have to do to be in the position that you're in. So even though he clarified himself, I think we all get what he's saying. I appreciate that he took the time to answer the question instead of getting angry at me. But a crazy thing happens, and you know this. The best tonic for anything that is ailing your ball club is winning. Winning cures all. There could be the biggest scandal in the history of the sport that you're dealing with, but if you find a way to win a couple games, everybody forgets about it. Winning cures everything. And what did the Tigers do over the last 3 games? They won. They won 6-2 on Friday. And Colt Keith, remember Colt Keith? We did a podcast about him. He bitched and whined about the dimensions at Comerica Park. He finally hit his first long ball of his career. It's pretty cool. Got to feel pretty good for the kid. Tigers won the game 6-2. And then after the game, the fan that caught the ball in left center field got to meet Colt Keith. And Colt gave him some autographed memorabilia, and the fan gave him the ball, and there you go. But as a little side note, you could feel free to answer this so you don't have to answer this. I was in the clubhouse when I found out what the fan ended up getting from Colt Keith. So I asked Colt Keith, did he worry that the fan, because it's a ball that he wants, would charge him money to get the ball back? Here's what he said.
No, I figured not. I mean, most Tigers fans are really cool, and it was Paul. He was really awesome, and he was able to get it to me. And I got a few balls and a few bats for him, so it's a good trade-off.
All right, just a little sidebar before we continue the podcast. I think that was a very irresponsible decision and choice by the fan. Now, by all accounts, the fan, I think his name is Paul, as Colt just said, has had season tickets the entirety of Comerica Park's existence. I'm sure he's independently wealthy. But you know Colt Keith wants that ball. And I understand I'm probably a scumbag for saying this. I would have charged Colt Keith. He just signed a $28 million contract over the span of 6 years. He's got all the money in the world, way more money than you or I. I won't speak for you. Way more money than me. I know Keith wants that ball. I want $5,000 to $10,000. Bada bing, bada boom. Am I a jerk? Because I would have asked for cash. I would have said, listen, Colt, here you go. $5,000, $7,000, $10,000. How bad you want the baseball? Now, this isn't like Jeter's 3,000th hit or Pujols' 2,000th RBI, but damn it, fans pay for ticket prices, they pay for concessions, they pay for parking, they pay for merch. That's like winning the lotto. It's the fans' lucky day. I would have charged him. And if he didn't want it, because I'm pretty sure he was going to want it, put it on his mantle, first long ball in the bigs, yeah, well, I guess I would have kept it. I know I'm a jerk for saying this, but I think you would have done the same thing. Like, guy makes $28 million over the course of the next 6 years. You couldn't use an extra $5,000 to $7,000 to $10,000 to help yourself out. Anyway, that's what crossed my mind as we were talking to Colt Keith in the clubhouse on Friday. But the Tigers won, so everything was good again. Then on Saturday, they won again, 2-1 over the Toronto Blue Jays. And how about Reese Olson? The king of pitching unbelievably but getting 0 run support finally won a game. They won 2-1, so we didn't get a ton of run support, but it was enough. And Reese Olson was outstanding. His ERA is under 2. He's now, 1-5 on the season? So it was great to see Reese Olson get a win. And the Tigers made it a 2-game winning streak. And then came Sunday. And I got to tell you, Sunday was unbelievable. It was the 11:35 Roku game. I had plans with my family at like 3 o'clock, thinking to myself, this game's going to be over. It was like a 3-hour and 30-minute game. Tigers went up 5-0. Next thing you know, the Blue Jays came right back. Tigers blew a 3-run late inning lead. Varsho had a 2-run bomb in the 8th inning, and the Blue Jays went up by 2. So it looked like a demoralizing, awful loss. But next thing you know, Mark Canha had a 2 RBI single in the bottom of the 8th inning, and they went to the 9th, all tied up at 11. Blue Jays almost took the lead again with a long fly ball to left field that didn't have quite the juice. And then at the bottom of the 9th inning, the Tigers got working. And it's interesting because the way this game went and how many players AJ was forced to use, Kenta Maeda was going to hit third in the bottom of the 10th inning. So I kind of wanted to see the game go extra innings. And I know it was already long enough, but I wanted to see extras simply because I wanted to see Kenta bad in that situation. But it never came to that. Tigers got a couple on, couple out. Kerry Carpenter, I call him Kerry Bonds, was intentionally walked from Matt Vierling. Matt Vierling worked the count full. And then he did this to send everybody home happy. Take a listen.
The 3-2. Fly ball to left. Wow. Oh, man. Matt Vierling walks it off with a 3-run bomb.
So that was Dan Dickerson on the TV call. Joe Carter, remember him, former Blue Jay? That dude was clutch in the World Series. It was Dickerson and Carter, and then it was Jason Benetti and Andy Dirks on the radio. Kind of a little switcheroo. So Vierling hits the homer, and that's a 3-game winning streak. And the Tigers are 1 game under 500. So what started off as a very bad homestand started off with a lot of negativity, and the Tigers got crushed 9-1 on Thursday. They've won 3 in a row. But there's one more thing I have to hit on, because after the game on Sunday, I asked AJ Hinch if they're going to continue to wear the City Connect jerseys and uniforms. Now, the last 3 games, they have not worn the Old English D. Not at all. They wore those black, they don't want to call them black, those dark blue, apparently it's the darkest shade of blue jerseys and pants. They have tire treads over them because it stands for the Motor City. The hat looks like something that you buy at a gas station. But they won 3 games in a row wearing these things. So I wondered on Tuesday when the Pirates come to town if they will continue to wear these jerseys. Here's what AJ Hinch said.
They will make their Tuesday debut against the Pittsburgh Pirates at 6:40. And, Dan Ross, I know you're watching. He's our clubhouse guy. Be careful. We may wear them. I don't know if we're going to wear them in Boston. We got to win 2 games first. But we're gonna keep the mojo going.
All right, so they're going to wear these jerseys later on today. And then if they win tonight, they're going to win tomorrow. And by the way, great pitching matchups because Tarek Skubal goes today and Paul Skeens against Jack Flaherty tomorrow in a day game in downtown Detroit. But these jerseys, these uniforms are ugly. But here's the deal. They're winning in them. They are 4-1 in the City Connects. But I'm curious how Tiger fans respond to wearing these uniforms, considering the Old English D is about as iconic as it gets. Let's not forget when the Red Wings moved to the patch, everybody bitched and moaned, but they did lose 7 in a row wearing the patch. Tigers have their own patch. I don't know if a lot of people bitched about the patch, but I wonder if fans are going to bitch about the Old English D taking a back seat to the City Connects. And the answer is, of course not. Fuck no. Why would they bitch? They're winning. This proves, I think, winning cures all. We said this earlier in the podcast. It's wild. It's true, though. Fans get crazy about their uniforms, as they should. They're fans. They're fanatics, right? But the Old English D is about as iconic as it gets, even more iconic than the winged wheel. When the winged wheel was messed with by the patch, people lost their minds. They vowed to boycott. But a funny thing's happening right now, because these City Connects are ugly. At least in my opinion, they're ugly. However, they've won 3 in a row. And they're 4-1 wearing them. And when AJ Hinch made the announcement that he's bringing them back for later today, I tweeted it out. And you wouldn't believe how many people were in favor of wearing them and how many people like the fact that they're wearing them. It just proves winning is more important and cures everything. So I'm curious. I want to hear from you. Do you have a problem with the Tigers, an iconic franchise, not wearing their iconic logo, the Old English D? And while you might say yes, because I did a radio topic about this yesterday, and a lot of people were like, I'd rather lose ugly than win wearing those godforsaken jerseys and uniforms. And while I guess I understand it, I don't believe you. If they win again today, you're going to want to wear them again on Wednesday. And if they win on Wednesday, you're going to want to wear them on the road at Fenway Park. Now, I have no idea if you can do that or not, but I kind of feel you might. I asked Spencer Torkelson. He didn't know. If you listen to that AJ comment, it sounds like you can. But I'm curious. Do you have an issue as a Tigers fan that they're giving the Old English D, one of the most iconic logos in all of sports, a backseat for these uniforms because they're simply winning and they're being superstitious? What do you think? Let me know on the comment section. Speaking of comments, let's do them tomorrow. We don't have time today. I've gone way too long. I had way too much to say. We'll catch you tomorrow on the Daily Ticket on a Wednesday. But answer the question for me. Do you have a problem with the City Connects being worn when the Old English D ain't? And the second thing is, and I kind of feel like a troll even asking this question, but I will. Baseball has such a long season, 162 games. Does the last 3 games tell you anything about this baseball team? They're only 2.5 games out of the wild card race. They're 10 games out of first place in the AL Central. Does this signify a comeback? Them getting it right? I would say no. I mean, look at the bullpen. It's a train wreck now. It was so good to start the season. They got like a 6 ERA for the bullpen in the month of May. So I'm going to say no, but I'm curious what you think. Let me know on the comment section. We'll do comments tomorrow. We'll catch you tomorrow on a hump day. Guys, have a great day. We'll catch you later. See ya.